Good evening, YouTube world. I'm your host, Paul Italia. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. So, welcome, guys. You're on Forget About It Junk Removal channel. We're also streaming it on Paul Italia's YouTube channel for all my subscribers on the Paul Italia channel. So, just kind of updating what's been going on and all. I've been, took a break from arm wrestling and all. Just been focusing on my new business, working the junk removal, building my channel, and I wanted to keep all you guys all in the loop and everything, and was hoping that a lot of you guys would come over to my new channel, Forget About It, subscribe over there. But in the meantime, on Paul Italia YouTube channel, I'm going to get back to my old days. We got the warm weather coming up and all, and I'm going to start my fitness journey. I'm going to document it. I'm going to do everything on the channel and kind of just, show you how I maintain my body when I want to get more lean and ripped, go on vacation, some things I do, kind of show you the nutrition, some of the workouts and all that stuff. So if you guys are interested in content like that, make sure to get over to Paul Italia YouTube channel and click that subscribe button. We'll have tons of fitness content coming with that. So with that being said, let's talk junk removal, guys. We want to first shout out our people in junk removal. We got our man, Kevin Hess. He's got his great book out, Leading with Purpose. Make sure to get over to Amazon and get yourself one of these. And I will be giving away a couple of them. I got a bunch of them and autographed by Kevin. And we're going to be doing some cool giveaways in the near future coming up. Also, my boy Xavier Caldera doing big things, man. Just put out a series of books, commercial leads, junk removal secrets. He's also got the sales framework book, and he's working on another one that will be coming out shortly. So get over to Amazon. Make sure you go and order those. Let's support the guys in the junk removal business. I mean, these guys are very successful and really know what they're talking about, and they're giving back to the community. So let's show them our support. So today we got a really, really great guest coming on. I got to meet him at the Junk Expo a couple months back, thrown by Sonoma Strong in North California. That was very impressive. He had a great speech and, was just giving out so many golden nuggets that day. And, I got to talk with him, not much that day, but I set up an interview, and we're finally getting around to that now. And I'm really excited to learn about it. So today we have our special guest coming on. His name is Matt Fitch, and let me bring him on right now. What's up, Matt? How are you tonight, brother?
Hey, what's cracking, Paul? How are you?
Doing great, man. So I was just giving your introduction, telling everybody about how you were one of the great speakers at the Junk Expo, thrown by Sonoma Strong. Shout out to Sonoma Strong, Matt Vick, and JoJo Vick.
Yeah.
Definitely got my attention that day, bro. You're one of the best speakers. He had a great speech, giving out golden nuggets and all that. So very interested to hear and learn about you today, man. So want to first start off and just kind of find out, where do you live and how did you find the junk removal industry to begin with?
Yeah. Well, sure, man. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. It was good to meet you too. I'm glad we got to meet. Dude, you're fucking huge, bro. I'm gonna have to follow what you're talking about with the whole nutrition thing. I'm interested to see what you talk about with that. So I'll
Hell
follow
yeah.
that series that you got coming out. But I live just north of Austin, Texas. I live in Liberty Hill, and I moved down to Austin when I was 19 years old. So I went to college for a few months, wasn't the right time. And so I left about halfway through the second semester. They sent me on my way. I didn't actually leave. I just wasn't ready for college, man. I got in a bunch of trouble. It wasn't grades. I was just doing the wrong thing and wasn't ready. So I left. I grew up in Maine. And so I was going to college at Keene State in New Hampshire, and I just didn't want to go back home, like small town America, and I just didn't feel right. I felt embarrassed, like I thought I was going away to college, everything was going to be good. I was kind of I wasn't a fuck up in school, but like I was the class clown, like we'd get into a lot of trouble, and so for me to kind of turn myself around like towards the end of high school and get into a good college. Like I was going to be an environmental scientist. I thought I was going to be the weatherman, and I got booted. So instead of going home to Maine, I came to Texas. My brother was down here, and so I came to Austin and ended up in Northwest Austin, and did a bunch of different things for quite a few years. I didn't find junk removal until I was in my 30s. So I was bartending and ended up doing that for about 5 years. I was bartending, and then I got into doing commercial equipment loans with a broker in Austin, and that's kind of where I learned how to sell. And so we were just selling shitty loans to people with bad credit, basically, is what that deal is, you know. And so commercial equipment loans, and I did that for a few years, and the economy tanked. So like right after the recession, and just the bottom fell out. My world fell out from underneath me. Like fuck, we lost everything. Lost like my house, like everything. You know, we went bankrupt, foreclosure, didn't have shit. And so prior to that, I was training to be an arborist for a few years. And over the course of training to be an arborist, people would ask me, and be like, "Hey man, I got a couple things. Could you haul me off?" Because they knew I was like going to haul their brush off or something. And so I did it, and I didn't really think anything about it as being a business. I was just like, "Oh, well, here's an extra $50. Great, we'll add that onto the job." But when the bottom fell out, and you know, I had to try to figure out, like, what am I doing? Am I going to go back and work for somebody else, or can I find something that works, you know, for me? And that's when I zeroed in on junk removal, because I was doing so many different things, and the only thing that I could do 100% by myself, and it had awesome margins, was junk removal. So I
But
just
like,
went
how
all
did you? I know you said that you were doing like little random jobs and making money here and there, but like, how did you even know it was a thing back then? Was it out on YouTube? Was junk removal like a big business then, or was it
I
not
mean,
really known yet? Like,
got junk and college hunks were pretty much it. Junk King might have been around when I first started, but I didn't see him until a few years in. So I mean, I knew. I mean, I remember the slogan "Got Junk" like in middle school. You know, like I remember when "Got Junk" hit America, and so like I knew of it. I just didn't really know. You know, like I didn't know it was a full fledged business that somebody could do. Um, but then, as I had been in junk removal, you know, exposed to it for a few years, doing like some junk removal and like doing arborist work, and I was putting up fences. I had subcontractors doing some deck work, and so I was stretched really thin, and that's why the bottom fell out. Is like I signed up to do a couple decks, like elevated decks, and I was in over my head, and the guys that I hired weren't right for the job, and it was my fault for putting them there. But so I lost a shitload of money at 1 December, and that's when I had to figure out. Like I was actually applying for jobs. I was trying to be a manager for some landscape company. I was trying to go work for a site clearing company. I was filling out all these applications. I was going on interviews, and I just nobody wanted to pay me enough because I had been making enough. I had been making some money, you know, and like self-employed, and like maybe I didn't have all of it figured out at that time, but like at the end of the day, like I had the ability to bring in $20,000 or $30,000 in sales. And so if I can figure out like all the things that's wrong with my business and connect the dots, like I can make it work. But I was trying to do too many complex things that I couldn't manage. And so that's why junk removal made the most sense, is because I don't have a bunch of contractor skills. You know, like I can't build a house. I can't. I mean, I guess I could. Anybody could do anything these days on YouTube, right? Like I could learn, but at the time I didn't know how to do anything. And so I
give
just
me an idea. What years are we talking now? Like, what year are we around right now?
2013, 2012.
Okay, now what was like? Was there YouTube out then? Were you able to go on YouTube and see like a bunch of junk removal videos and learn about it that way, or it wasn't really big like that?
No, I didn't do anything on YouTube until I was a few years into it. And so
Okay,
I wasn't like, the only reason I'm on Facebook and YouTube is to promote my business. Like I wasn't on Facebook or YouTube as a consumer. I created a business page. Like when I realized I was the last guy that anybody knew who got on Facebook. Like I wasn't that guy. And so I was running my business quietly, and I knew that I needed to have an online presence. And so I went to Facebook. I was like, what the fuck is this? And I went to just create a business page, and I had to have a personal profile. And so that's kind of where this whole online thing started for me. But I
but
was already
what
well
do you
into
want
it
to do
before that.
what I'm trying to figure out right now is like, when did it click in your head? Like, wow, I got something here. You know what I mean? Like, when did you say, okay, I got to go make an LLC? This is an official business that I could see myself doing full time. Like, when did that hit for you? Like, when did you realize, like, all right, I got to go invest, go get a truck, and really get full time into this?
2011. I formed the LLC in March of 2013.
Okay.
And so I was running for a couple of years doing junk on the side before that. So I guess it was probably 2012. Like I remember driving down the highway and thinking like several years ago that like I think I had hit like a $20,000 a month or something. And I was like, oh my God, like I've made it. I hadn't obviously made it at that point, but like my first time hitting a big milestone, I was like, okay, this is it. Like we're gonna be able to do this. Like this is a thing. At that point, I turned away a lot of like contractor type jobs because I had been trying to close fences and decks and tree work.
So
But that
when that
December,
first $20,000 monthly income came in, that was when you're like, all right, I'm done with fencing, I'm done with all that other shit. It's time to get serious with junk removal, go all in. What were you using as a vehicle at that time? Did you have a pickup, or were you using did you go in right away with a dump truck? Like, how'd you
no,
start off?
fuck, dude, I had nothing. I had no money. I bought an $1,100 Dodge Ram with over 200,000 miles on a 1,500. And what I did is I went into the rental outfit, John's Rental on Pond Springs in Austin. I had been going there renting trailers for like tree work and loaders, different things that I needed for jobs. So I had a good relationship with them. And I went in there and I was like, I need to rent a trailer on a monthly basis. And they had a back like a boneyard, graveyard of like all their dead trailers. And I said, man, go back there, find one that's like roadworthy. I don't care, and they gave me a deal for $450 a month on a rental trailer. And I had that rental trailer in my possession for over a year. I never once brought it back to him for maintenance. Like I did all the lights, I did the trailers, I busted a fucking axle and replaced the axle. And so like, I remember bringing that trailer back to him. It was over a year, maybe 14 months or something. And it was a huge milestone for me because I'd finally been able to buy some trailers. I got a loan for six 16-foot utility trailers. And so that's kind of how it all started. And I was renting some of the trailers out. I called it U-load trailers. I did that for a couple of years, realized there was more margin in full service junk removal, and the maintenance on trying to rent out trailers doesn't make sense. So, um, there's a lot of different curves, and there still is, because even when you think that you've got it all figured out, the economy flips upside down or society changes, like COVID hits and like we all just like interact differently online all of a sudden, so you got to be nimble. And even if you think you're doing everything perfectly, shit outside of your control is going to change. That's just the way it is. And so
Well,
it's been a fun
it sounds
ride,
like
man.
a
It's
great
been a hell
story,
of a ride.
brother.
What's
It's
that?
like, it sounds like a great story. It's like you kind of like stumbled upon it, but it's like once you found it, you were like, all right, this is my passion. I'm gonna run with this. And seems like you did pretty good with that.
Yeah, dude. I think the thing that helped me the most is I had a family friend that he was working with me a little bit before I went all in on junk removal, and he ended up leaving and he went full time to go work for College Hunks, and he was their lead guy for a while, like a couple years, and so he was, he's leading small teams of other haulers and driving all around town, and more importantly, learning how to sell and like learning how to sell with the big guys. And so then he came back and worked with me full time. My first year, I had a dude from Guatemala or Honduras, and it just Google Translate for one whole year, just me and him, Juan. But then my second year, my friend Dylan, he left College Hunks, and he came, and for a couple years, just me and him in the truck, me picking his brain, him telling me, like, well, they do it like this, and like, and so this 21-year-old kid, I mean, like, shit, he might have been 20 at the time, but like he taught me more about running a good junk removal business by what he learned from College Hunks. And so like, I think that's probably a good lesson is like, we you don't get so narrow minded and to where you can't take feedback from other people, because We can we can
leave the ego on the side, because you
uh,
could learn from everything. And obviously
mhm.
learning from a 21-year-old, and kind of showed you the way by showing you how the franchises do the right thing. You obviously learned a lot from that. That's very cool, man. But I just got to shout out a couple people in the chat. We got Sylvester's Talone in the house. We got my man Drew. We got US Liberty. We got my co-host Hollywood Matt. What's up, Matt Conley, in from Australia? Matt Conley throws. He was my partner in the Arm Wrestling Buzz podcast we did together. So shout out to him. We got Bubbles and the Purr Monster. What's up, guys? How you all doing? Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys have any questions for Matt, please post them up there, and I'll make sure to read them out. So, Matt, what I want to learn about, man, is what really changed the game for you, man. Like, obviously you were learning the ways what your man Dilling, and he was kind of showing you the ways of the franchise and all. But like, how did you build your own brand? Like, did you start off with a website? Did you work with SEO? Like, how did you start it all building?
Yeah, I built my own websites. So I started with a GoDaddy site. Before I had a website, I was on Craigslist. So that's where I started. Before Craigslist, it was I went to the library with $50, and I opened up a Word document, and I created a iHall Austin flyer. I came up with iHall because I wanted it to be like a familiar, um, a name recognition. Everyone iPhone. Everything was I something. 15 years ago. So I was like, all right, it's iHall, and so I came up with that. I made a Word document flyer at the public library, and I printed out 500 sheets for $50. And I went back to my neighborhood, and I walked the neighborhood, and that's how I got my first set of jobs. And then I'd go back and I'd print out 500 more or 1,000 flyers. And so for the first several months, I was just flyering, just fucking terrible marketing. I mean, I wasn't doing anything right. I didn't have a brand. I didn't have a logo. I didn't have anything. It was literally a black and white Word document rolled up, stuck on people's doorknob. But before I put it on their door, I'd knock, because I knew that I had a limited number of flyers and I wanted to have a face-to-face conversation. If I didn't get that, then I'd leave the flyer. So then eventually I found Craigslist. Craigslist was free. And so the way that Craigslist works is you create an account, and I had hundreds of ads. And so and you can renew an ad every 48 hours. And so I had an account with hundreds of ads of all the different services. This is before I knew anything about SEO, but I was kind of doing it on Craigslist. And, but yeah, so I would, every 15 minutes, starting as early as I could get up, like 5 a.m. to like 10 p.m., every 15 minutes, I would renew another ad. So at any given time, if you looked at Craigslist for any number of different services, I was almost always at the top. So that's how I got started. Craigslist and flyering. And then eventually I found Google Ads. So for several years, I just ran my own Google Ads campaigns, and we'd spend maybe $1,000 to $2,000 a month on Google Ads. Not a lot, but back then that was enough to generate 20 or 30,000 in sales, because it was, the price of ads was cheaper, competition was lower. Before Google Ads, I had almost 100 Yelp reviews before I ever had a Google page.
Wow.
Yelp used to be awesome too. And so
Okay.
I dominated Yelp for years. I paid for Yelp ads before I paid for Google ads. And so that was the transition. Paper
So let
flyers,
me ask you this,
Craigslist.
Matt. I want to back up a little. So when you first started with organic growth, with the 500 flyers and everything, when you would do the 500 flyers, how many jobs would you pick up from that 500 flyers, would you say, around?
One or two.
Okay.
If that, sometimes nothing.
Okay. Then after that, you went and you started with the online advertising. Is that when you started doing Google ads next, or Yelp? Like,
Yelp. I
okay,
did
and
Yelp
that's
for a couple years before I ever even paid for a Google ad, because Yelp ads were good.
okay. And then Craigslist, back then, did they charge you for an
No.
ad? No. So today they charge you, though, correct?
Right. So you can replicate the same thing. You just need to do it once an hour between 8 and 5 p.m. You know what I mean? Like, if your budget's constrained, you can still do that. But like, yeah, it costs money now to do that. So the what you can do, and it's the same now as it was then, is you can put all your time into your Facebook page for free. and you can do the same thing, and you can post all day on your Facebook page, and you can do like what you do, and you can put the camera in front of your face, and you can talk to your target audience, and that's how you're going to get business for free. And
Okay.
right now is to get yourself and then put a face to your business. Branding's one thing, but fuck, Nike will pay a no-name influencer to represent their brand now, because personal touch is almost more powerful than a brand.
Yeah.
And so I think that people need to, they need to put the freaking camera in front of their faces. If you don't have a budget, Craigslist was that 15 years ago, and now it's social media. Like, this shit's free. It's probably not going to be free.
Recommend though paying the Craigslist ads these days? Because I'm hearing like mixed reviews about that. Some people are saying it's not worth it anymore. You don't know. You don't mess with them anymore.
I've seen people that say it's successful. You know what though? I would be willing to. I would like to look at their ads. I'd like to look and see what that looks like. The guy that says that Craigslist sucks, I bet he doesn't have the best ad. The people that say Craigslist is awesome, I bet they have the best presence in their area.
What are you looking for when you're building an ad on like a Craigslist? Like what do you want to have in that ad? What is very important?
What I would always do is I would just go and I'd find the best ad and I'd try to make it better.
So like find another business that's getting a lot of business out there and kind of replicate them and just put your own little touch on it.
Well, like just speaking about Craigslist specifically, what I would do is the ads that stood out. Like I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. Like, oh wow, they're using all caps here, and then they got a couple emojis. Like, well, that stands out more. And the quality of the images, like Canva was still new back then, but it was there, and so nobody would do that. They put these shitty ass, like what I was doing with my flyers that I created, nothing creative. And so if you can just put a little bit of effort into trying to look a little better than most of the people out there, and that's not hard. Most people don't fucking try hard. So like if you have enough common sense and patience to get on Facebook and YouTube, and you don't need to reinvent the wheel, just get in there and try to make a better version of it and put a lot of time and effort into it. And don't give up.
If you had to pick one platform today and you could only advertise on that one platform, which one would it be for you?
So, I mean, for me, it might be not the best answer for everybody, because remember when I said I was the last guy to get on Facebook? Yeah. I'm not on TikTok. I'm not on Instagram. I am on Instagram. I just don't actually spend any time there. Like I'll send my posts automatically over there, but I don't do anything. I put 100% of my time into my private Facebook group. I don't pay for ads for my marketing agency. I don't pay for anything. I don't pay other people to promote what I do with marketing now. I manage a Facebook group with 35,000 junk callers. I've told people, junk callers, this. I don't know why you guys aren't creating a private Facebook group for your target audience. You don't need to sell your junk removal services to them. You need to create a space for them to be, give them a reason to be there. And then if you're the guy running the group, if shit hits the fan and they need a junk hauler, they're going to call you. You know what it's like? So like it's passive advertising, maybe, like create a community for your target audience to exist that's actually helpful for them. And if you're the guy that runs that community, who are they going to go to when they need the service that you provide? And maybe
the only thing that I got to say to that is because now you have a different target client that you're looking for. Now you're actually looking for the junk removal companies. I'm assuming now is who you're advertising to. So for like a guy like me that's trying to advertise his junk removal services, I would want to find local people and build a local group, correct?
Like realtors or property managers, like what kind of a hub could you create for realtors, that would make them want to come to your private group and learn, like what information do we have as junk haulers, or for you personally, maybe that doesn't even have anything to do with junk hauling. I post about my fucking horses, and I get more people joining my page and following me by posting about horses. You know what I mean?
Because people are associating with you, like a lot of people that hits home for them, and now they, they feel like they know you. And I want to shout out, we got Sonoma Strong in the house. What's up, Matt and JoJo? How you doing? Also, Kevin Hess is in the house with Leading Purpose. Oh, we got Kevin. We representing over here, brother. everybody get over to Amazon and support our man Kevin Hess. Hell yeah. And like I said, I got a bunch of these. We got them all autographed up. We're going to be doing some giveaways. So tune in, guys, and make sure you subscribed. I'll be announcing them soon. And what is Sonoma Strong? He says, "What up, Kevin? See you in a couple weeks, brother." Yeah, so I want to make mention of this, man, because all you guys are going to be together in Texas soon, right out of Austin, Texas. I see you have a big event coming up February 21st, and it says Mindset Matters. So tell me about this, Matt. What made you put this together, and what's going to be going on that day?
Yeah, well, we're gonna get together. We've done, I think there was 3 or 4 different events last year, and I was at most of them, and every time I went, it was amazing. Every one of them was a little different, and every time I went, people were like, "Nah, why don't you do an event? We want to come to Austin." So I was like, "All right, I'll do an event," but I didn't want to do. I didn't just want to like have classes about how to do ads or how to do SEO or how to build a website, like. Dude, anybody can do your website in SEO. I mean, there's 100 people out here that can do this for you. Find the guy that you like and do that, and pay him and do that. What's going to set you apart as a successful business owner is your leadership skills. Understanding how to be a better leader, understanding how to grow teams, understanding how to empower them and create future leaders in your organizations. That is the secret. I didn't know that from the first 15 or 20 years. I've just been starting kind of digging into this side of my journey with leadership and mentoring over the last couple of years. And that's so many people discount it, but growing and having like the right mindset, having a growth mindset and understanding what it takes to be a good leader is what's going to allow us to have awesomely profitable, big junk removal businesses, because we can't be behind the wheel. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to run a multi-million-dollar junk removal company if you're the guy driving the truck. So you've got to understand what it takes to build the systems and teams. And so that's what this is about. It's a leadership conference. We're going to bring the gurus. We're going to do a lot of, we're going to hear a lot of storytelling. We're going to hear about people talk about, how leadership impacts their businesses and how, you can grow a business through leadership. And so there'll be some storytelling. It's going to be motivational, inspirational. We've got an awesome activity event. We're going to do the trailer Olympics in reverse. So we're renting a handful of go-karts or golf carts and micro trailers, and we're going to see who's got the most skills backing up. So like, instead of just sitting down in a classroom for the whole day, we're going to Camp Lucy, which is a wellness retreat. It's like a 300-acre, like a really, really nice resort out in the Texas Hill Country. So we're all going to get together. We're going to eat like kings. There's amazing food, 300-acre retreat out in the Hill Country. We're going to hear Matt Vick and Joni Jojo tell their story, talk about leadership. We're going to hear Kevin Hess, the king, leading with purpose. He's going to talk about leadership and a little bit about his story. Hearing stories from the people that you look up to, for me, I think is one of the biggest mindset shifts that helped me, is understanding that these people that we're looking up to, they didn't just wake up one day and we were successful. Like, like they've been through shit. Some of the most successful people came from nothing. Many of them, like have been in trouble, and, whether it's addiction or issues with their own personal struggles or family trauma, like we've all been through shit. And so for us to be able to get together and for people to listen to people like Kevin Hess, my friend Brent Durden, Matt and Joni Jojo, like these are guys that have made it big. They understand what it takes, but they've got stories, and I want people to hear them and understand that, like, it's not going to be an overnight success, or, like just because you grew up poor or you went through childhood trauma or whatever it is that you think you're the victim of, like, get that shit out of your head and fucking take a couple steps forward and just change your past, And so that's what this is all about, is that.
Very cool, man. So where can people get their tickets? Where can they buy their tickets? How much are they?
Yep.
And How many tickets do you have left? Because I know you guys are close to selling out and all.
Yeah, no, the tickets are on sale for about another week. So we got another week. You can go to mattfitchevents.com. It ain't sold out. So we're gonna sell it as long as we can sell tickets as long as we can. I think the date is like 10 days before that, like the 11th or something. So we just got less than a week before we're gonna close tickets. They're 350. The food that we're gonna eat during the day, like we're gonna get brunch and a dinner. The food is gonna be worth more than 350. So like,
Bro, just the networking, just the
yeah,
people that you just mentioned, learning and hearing from these people, that alone, man, that's priceless right there. So if you guys are anywhere in that area or you're interested, hit up Matt or get over to mattfitch.com. You could get your own tickets over there. Definitely a great event. If I was free and I didn't just get up and running, man, I would definitely be making that trip for sure. Also want to shout out to Andy Beckett. What's up, brother? How you doing? Sylvester Stallone says, by junk removal, do you work for Doge? Oh man, Doge is cleaning house in the government and loving it right now. Hell yeah, man. So yeah, bro. So I want to go on now. So I know that you were very successful with your junk removal company and all, but I also know that you've moved on from that. Do you still have a junk removal company?
no,
Okay.
no, I sold it in 2023. So
So
I was
this is where I want to learn about you, bro, because I've been trying to figure out, I know you're doing big things in the industry and all. So I wanted to learn about like I seen with the subcontracting. That was your big thing at the expo when you were talking. And I was like, it had my head going. I'm like, wait, this guy is making all this money and he's not leaving his couch and he's getting jobs all over the place. How does this all work and everything? And how did you come up with this?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, I've never once invented anything. I never reinvented the wheel. Like nothing that I did first. I haven't. Like, I'm not the pioneer. There's other trash brokers out there that do it. So, um, but yeah, I mean, I've saw it. Check Sammy's been around for a long time. Go Load Up, Trash Warrior, I think was one that was around for COVID that went under. But there's other trash brokers out there, and by trash brokers, I mean middleman. Like so instead of being the guy that goes and drives out there with your truck, you get the job and you oversee it, and then you sub the work out to a guy with a truck and a trailer. So I ran I-Haul for over a decade locally in Austin, and the transition happened right before COVID. So I I had a couple trucks. I had the small fleet of trailers, and one week both my trucks went down, and we were slammed. We had a bunch of work lined up, and so I was in a group message. The landfill manager had like 15 of us, like the 15 of the bigger junk removal guys that always, so that he could update us like if the line was long or if it was closed, for commercial only. I got you.
Yeah, you glitched for a minute. Yeah, you're good now.
Yeah, so we were on a group message and for a couple years, and one day my trucks went down, and so I reached out to the group and I said, "Guys, I got a full week of work. Without a truck," and so I asked them. I said, "Do you guys, if anybody wants any of these jobs, reach out to me. We'll work something out and get them done." And so I subcontracted a whole week's worth of work. I got all the jobs done. I made a much smaller percentage because I was giving them most of it, and but they got tips. I got reviews. Customers were happy, and I never bought another truck. I sold all my equipment after that, and I was like, okay.
I got to ask this. So, what is your percentage on a job of subcontracting? What do you make off of that?
So it started with me at 40%, or the haulers at 40% and me at 60%. Because when I started it, I was paying out the ass for Google ads, and so in order for me to justify that, it was a 40-60 split. They got 40, I got 60. Eventually, I got out of Google ads and I was just doing only SEO. And so my cost of acquiring the customers went way down. And I was having some issues with subcontractors. And so I wanted to be more demanding, have higher expectations of the subs. And so I created like a whole training portal. And I went from paying them 40% to paying them 60%. And instead of finding guys like on places like Craigslist, I started getting more active on Facebook and started talking about what the commercial jobs and like, why am I getting these commercial jobs? Why was this customer willing to spend, $800 on something that most haulers charge 300? And so I started talking about those things. And that's sort of how I got into the mentoring side of it. And so the transition happened over a couple of years, going from owning a business to marketing. The subcontract, before I get into the shift from owning hauling to marketing, the subcontracting shift happened in COVID. So my trucks went down, everything went well, and then COVID hit. And it was like the perfect timing. So I hadn't subcontracted outside of Austin yet. I did that just in Austin for over a year, and just subcontracting to the guys I knew in Austin. And
Can I ask you, Matt, how did you do over that 1 year's time? Like, what were you bringing in?
Between 4 and 500,000 is what I did for almost 10 years straight. My first year I did 189,000, and I did like 300 after that. And then we were just like 500 was my sweet spot. So we were doing 450 to 500
And that's
locally.
gross, or is that net?
No, it's just that's gross sales.
Okay.
Yeah. When I say a number, I'm talking about the either monthly or annual sales revenue.
So what does it take to run a business that, subcontracting to make those kind of numbers? Like, how many jobs a day are you putting out there, would you say, on average?
Well, locally, I wasn't able to go get. I know that Austin can support more than a $500,000 junk removal company. I just didn't do it. I couldn't get past 500. And so once I knew that the subcontracting model was working without me there, I said, why can't I do this in Dallas? Why can't I do this in Seattle or Atlanta or LA? And so I created Google business profiles, started creating new landing pages. I looked at Got Junk. I said, what's Got Junk doing? How does Got Junk have different Google business profiles? How do they have this? And so I looked at their website. They don't have a ton of different websites. They're like, okay, they have landing pages for this location. They have different service pages for these services. They have a Google business profile for each franchise with a different address and a different phone number. And so I created different Google business profiles. I created different business phone numbers. I used virtual offices to create the locations to get the Google profiles approved. And so I opened up in Denver, Atlanta, Dallas, Seattle, LA.
What was making you go after those territories? Was it the population, a lot of business coming in those areas?
Well, it's a luxury service. And so I wanted to be in metro areas where people have money. Like if you're in a rural area, it's tough. Like this is a luxury service, like it's just like maid service, or, like people that pay landscapers to come to their mansion twice a week. Like those are the type of people that love junk removal. Trying to sell junk removal to middle America, I mean, sure, you can shove it down their throats, but they're not going to love it. You know what I mean? The people that love it are the people that spend out the ass on luxury services, people that brag to their friends about how much they spent on something stupid. And so I knew that I needed to be in cities with people that had a lot of money. And so it was working in Austin. And so I said, all right, let me just pick the top 5 cities that I can go to. So I went Dallas, Denver, Atlanta, Seattle, LA. And so I would pump in a couple $100 a day in each area on Google Ads. And, with some days I'd do 10 jobs, some days I'd do 25 jobs, but I wasn't dominating one specific market. Austin was always my hub, but I didn't go to LA and dominate LA. I didn't go to Atlanta and dominate Atlanta. I got a small piece of the pie out of a bunch of markets.
Yeah, you don't need to dominate the way you're going, man. A couple of jobs here and there, that's all you need, and you'll kill it like that. I really like this formula you found. And how were these junk companies that you were working with? How easy is it to find them that are willing to work with you on that per se? Is that hard to get people that are willing to give you a shot?
That's why I was so vocal about what I was doing on Facebook. So I infiltrated Matt and JoJo's trash talk group. They changed the name, but and so I just went in there and I started. This is before I was like doing any marketing or websites. So it was me I haul junk trying to find subcontractors. And so I'd go in and I'd talk about and I'd show photos of, the commercial jobs, that we were doing and say, I charged the client 1,400 here. We paid the hauler 850. This is why it worked. This is why the customer hired us. And so I just started talking about that because I wanted people to know what my expectations were. And so once people knew that I had good jobs and other people started talking about it, because what would happen is instead of me telling the hauler how much I was going to pay him, they'd be like, well, how much are you going to give me for this job? I was like, dude, like I'm your customer. You tell me how much you charge, And so like I flipped it around. I said, you tell me how much. And they'd be like, well, we can do it for 750. And I was like, I actually got 900 in this for you. And so I was paying them more than what they'd ask. And so that allowed me to have higher expectations. I was visible and vocal about the expectations and what you get in return. It was a high paying job. And so that's how I attracted good people. And so when I had a new job that came up in an area that I didn't have a subcontractor, I'd go into the groups. I was like, guys, I need a hauler in Klamath Falls, Idaho, like Nowhereville. Sure as shit, man. There's people everywhere, and almost every dude. We did a job in Prague. I've done jobs in the middle of the fucking desert where there's nothing. Like, and so you don't always go to the junk hauler. Once you get into a place where there's no junk removal companies, I go in and I'd like start calling movers and landscapers and be like, hey, dude, like, would you be willing to go do this? And like when I tell them how much they're getting paid, they'd be like, holy shit, like, yeah, I'll do that, And so now I got a landscaper who's willing to do junk jobs in Klamath Falls, you know what I mean? And so thinking outside the box, just not being afraid to people, we get so focused on perfection, and like the way that you scale is to allow for things to be a little less than perfect, because like, yes, when we're doing it 100% ourselves, that's next level. Like, I mean, but you can't scale that, you know what I mean? And you're going to plateau. And so if you really want to scale to the next level, like we've got to understand what it takes, and you got to be willing to take some risks, and you got to also understand it's okay if it's not perfect. Like I heard
But let me ask you this, Matt. What happens though if you work with a junk removal company and it turns out to be a disaster job? The customer's not happy. They go and they write a bad review. Now
Yep.
that bad review goes under your Google page, right?
Mhm.
Now,
Yeah, I mean, you do the same
how do you
thing
deal with that situation when stuff like that happens?
you do the same thing you would when an employee fucks you over. So you fire them or train them, or depending on if they're, like what they did, if it's trainable and it's just like an honest mistake, well, then we can fix that. And that's what I mean is like, when you're training people, having some compassion and expecting a little less than perfect, and knowing that like we can train these people up and they can do it right. But it's the same as with an employee, like it's just you either fire them or train them, and then you fix the problem. You give damage control. You know what I mean? Like the worst situation I had was with an employee, not a subcontractor. I mean, I had employees throwing away like brand new material on jobs for contractors, and like, so now I have to like fucking drive to San Antonio. I'd spend $800 buying this guy metal and bringing metal on the other side of Texas, for 6 hours because my employee threw away this guy's tin or whatever, like that wasn't a
Yeah.
sub. So I mean, shit's gonna go south whether you have employees, subs, or you're doing it yourself. And so
Does it happen a lot, Matt? Do you come across problems or not so much? It's very rare occurrence to have a job go bad.
not any more with subs than employees.
Okay. Want to
I
shout
had
out Carolyn Loomis. What's up, Carolyn? She goes, "Hi, friend. See you at Winter Blast, Valley Forge, Arm Gods." Yeah, shout out to Winter Blast in the '98. That's a big arm wrestling event that is going down in March. That I'm a big sponsor there. So shout out to Caroline. And we got Benji Mack in the house. What is up, Benji? All my arm wrestling crew coming through, and appreciate it, guys. And if you guys haven't already, make sure to get over to Forget About It Junk Removal and click the subscribe button. It's my new channel. It's going to be following my journey in the junk removal industry as I build my business from the beginning. And I'm just doing all these great interviews with the top dogs in the industry. Matt's one of these guys right here. He's showing us a new way, man. I'm really intrigued in what I'm hearing right now with this whole subcontracting. And what I love best, man, is like you're in your office right now. You don't ever have to leave, and you're just banking all day, and you got people all over the country working for you. So I think that's like everybody's dream right here. And if you guys are looking to get into something like that, hit up Matt Fitch, man. He is the man. You do have coaching and all, right? You do coach classes and all?
So I don't like have a structured coaching course. Anybody who hires me to do their website or their SEO, I mean, they've got me on speed dial, and we're talking on a daily basis. I mean, I invest a lot of time into anybody who hires me. So you don't have to pay me to be your coach for me to coach you.
Oh, very nice, man. And the other thing that I wanted to know about is how important would you, from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, how important would it be for a new junk removal company to come out right away and build a website?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like a not even an option anymore. You know, like everybody needs a website. That's like saying you don't want to have a business card in the 80s or 90s. Like it's just like that's what you start with is a website. And you can get them for free now. You know, like so for sure. Like start building it yourself. Like you don't need if you don't have a budget. All right, it's different for different people, right? Like if you're starting out with experience running a business and you got the money, your journey's going to look different than the guy who's starting out with no family of mentors to train him, you know, as a kid. And if he's starting out with no money, his journey is going to look different. He probably needs to spend several months building his own website, figuring this shit out, because before you can outsource or train somebody else to do it, you should probably understand it yourself, you know. And building a website isn't rocket science, you know. And so get out there. I launched an AI marketing platform, guys. You can put a fucking website up in like less than a minute now. I mean, this shit's the website and the marketing. Like, no, it, you need it like you need
Your
tires on your
sneakers in the
car.
morning to go out.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, of course you need it, but it's not. That's not what's going to determine your success. Like a great website and a great agency running your marketing isn't what's going to determine your success. Like your drive. The people that pay an agency and then sit in their room and don't do anything. Well, what the fuck, man? Of course you're not going to be successful. The agency is supposed to be supplemental to what you're doing. You know, we're going to go 100 miles an hour in every different direction as long as we can, as hard as we can, as fast as we can. Sure, outsource and hire people to help and get your team bigger, but like expecting somebody else to make you successful like that's not going to work.
All it is one brick building towards a full foundation. So you need all those little bricks put together to build the full foundation, and that's how you build a successful business. Also, we got Richard Krause. He says, "I'd like to challenge you to an arm wrestling match." Oh wow, Richard! Yeah, I'm on hold at arm wrestling, but hey, bro, if you ever see me in person and we get together, I'd love to arm wrestle you, man. Love arm wrestling. I don't know if you're like from the arm wrestling world or whatever, but yeah, I love arm wrestling, so I'm always down for a good arm wrestle. And we got the man himself, Andrew Thompson, in the house. He says, "What's up?" Andrew Thompson, guys, for all you guys with home service businesses or junk removal business, he's got the software for you guys. He's got autopilot. It is cutting edge, making everybody's life a lot easier. Instead of paying all this crazy money for these CRMs, you know, they're charging a couple $100 a month. You get over to autopilot. He's got beta testing right now, so you get a really good deal. I think it's $50 per month. You get so many different things that are just going to help grow your business. I'm an investor myself. I've been using it. I just started my business a month ago. I'm already using all 5 tracking numbers. I'm tracking all the different marketing thing and all that. And there you go, autopilot. Check it out, guys. So if you guys have any questions, hit up Andrew Thompson. Like I said, he's got that great deal right now, $50 beta testing. And if you have any other questions about how it works or whatever, I've been doing it. It's very easy, like so easy to use, and really, really helps out. And also want to make mention, next week we got a great show. We're going to be starting a community show. I'm going to be doing it on Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And what I'm trying to do is just try to get like a place where everybody in the junk removal community could kind of just come and hang out, man. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the link for the live stream in the chat. So everybody's welcome to join. If you want to come in and hang out and kick it with us, we're just going to talk everything junk removal or any cool topics, anything that's going on in the world that week and you want to bring up. Just going to be an open forum for everybody to talk about. But this first show, it's a big one, man. We got some of the top dogs coming. Matt Fitch is coming in. We got Andrew Thompson, Sonoma Strong, Matt and JoJo Vick are coming. Kevin Hess will be in the house. Ronnie Knuckles, shout out to Spearcrest Digital. They just built my website for me. I'm very, very happy with that. He'll also be in there. So it's going to be a great place just to come and kick it and just have a good time. So I invite everybody that's in the chat, come join us next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. It's going to be a blast and love to have everybody there for sure. One last thing before we go, brother. Who's somebody that you would like for me to have on for an interview? Somebody that, maybe I haven't had on the channel yet.
Huh. That's a good one. I don't know who you haven't had on yet.
Well, I've had, we've had Sonoma Strong, we had Andrew Thompson, Louis Vandervalk, Ronnie Knuckles, John Aguirre, Kevin Hess, Xavier, you. That's the full list right there. I can't forget Isaac from San Jose. So who am I missing out of there?
Yeah, the guys from Around Town Junk Removal, they're awesome out in Phoenix. They got a pretty big channel. You know those guys?
No, I don't, but I will get in touch.
Garrett Fricks.
Okay.
Him and his wife, they run Around Town Junk Removal.
Were they at the expo?
Yes.
Yes, I did meet them. Yes.
They're such good people, man. They're good people, and they just got a real good channel. And so, man, if you ain't got them on, bring them on. I love them.
Hell yeah. So we'll definitely
Megan. I was like, what's her name? Shit. I'm sorry, Megan. Garrett and Megan Fricks. They're good people.
Gotcha. Definitely gonna hit them up for sure. And then one last thing. Who is somebody, as you were getting into junk removal, that you kind of, I know you were saying Dylan, your 21-year-old friend, that kind of helped you in a way, but who's somebody like online? I know you didn't get into, the social media thing until later, but like who is somebody that you first started following when you got into like YouTube and all that in the junk removal industry?
I mean, I didn't really look at YouTube to learn about junk removal. I didn't get on YouTube until I was doing, trying to promote my own thing. But I mean, everybody saw Ricardo. I mean, Ricardo was the only guy that was there when I showed up. I mean, he's the only
Mr.
guy
Controversy, Ricardo, man. I love that guy, bro. Yeah. He is, love him or hate him, he makes you feel a certain kind of way. Very strong emotions towards Ricardo. I've reached out to Ricardo a couple of times. I'm trying to work it out to get him on. Definitely want to get him on interview. It's so many days I can't believe when I wake up in the morning and Ricardo has just stirred the whole community up with something he's did recently, or I love it, bro. He has no filter, and he always says what he's thinking, doesn't hold back at all. Sometimes it rubs people the wrong way, but I'm one of those guys that walks a straight line in life, and I could respect that. So, Ricardo, if you're listening, brother, I'd love to have you on the Forget About It Junk Removal channel. You have an open invite, so shout out to Ricardo for sure.
Ricardo's a good dude. He's an interesting character, man. I've met Ricardo a couple of times, and I'm a fan. I mean, I think that when he's ruffling feathers, he's just trying to get attention, and he's really fucking good at it. You know what I mean? Like you go and you talk to the guy in person, he's the nicest guy. He's a normal fucking dude. He's not an asshole, you know. And so it's like he's just doing a good job getting people to look at him on.
He's like
on
the
the,
50 Cent of the junk removal
yeah,
world, man. He
yeah.
goes around
He-
beefing with everybody.
yeah, yeah. He RSVP'd. He said he's coming to my event, but
Oh, hell yeah, man. That's
we'll
that's a
see.
big
We'll
one right
see.
there. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Matt, is there anywhere else that people could check you out or contact you if they'd like to get in touch with you?
Yeah, right now you need to go to mattfitchevents.com. So that's where you're going to get info about the Mindset Matters Leadership Conference coming up February 21st, Camp Lucy. Going to be friggin' awesome. So mattfitchevents.com. That's where you need to go right now. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. My YouTube deal is at Matt Fitch. So youtube.com/at Matt Fitch. And that's where I'm at, man. Junk
Yeah, and I'm
removal
going to
business.
attach those links in the description so people could click on it and get a
Cool.
hold of you. And also, Drew has put Andrew Thompson's YouTube channel below, explaining all about autopilot. And you could also, on my channel, I got a bunch of interviews with Andrew and, a bunch of shorts talking about autopilot. And like I said, Andrew will be on Tuesday joining us all and everything. And Andrew, unfortunately, I cannot make Matt's event February 21st just because I just got up and running, brother. And you know how it is at the beginning. You got to kind of just grind and, get any jobs that you get sent your way and all. So I'm working hard with that. But yeah, definitely, Matt, I'll be getting in touch with you, brother, because this whole subcontracting thing, I definitely want to pick your brain some more and definitely want to bring you back on the channel and dive more in depth with that. And looking forward to coming on your channel as well, bro. Want to, definitely get out there and kind of introduce myself to all your subscribers as well.
Yes, definitely, absolutely. I'm ready for you, bro. So as soon as you want to come on, we'll get you in for an interview. And yeah, we scratched the surface, man. I'd love to
Yeah, we're
get
gonna dive into a lot because you got so much great tidbits that you were showing, and I really want to dive into it. But I wanted to keep this more of like a general and kind of just people get to know you and start following you, and then we'll dive into the fun stuff in a future interview.
That's great, man.
Thank you for coming on tonight, Matt. Really appreciate. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Really appreciate. If you haven't already, please click that thumbs up button and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate all the support, guys. Have a great night, everyone.
See you guys.